That's funny. So
Yeah.
when was the first time that you actually traveled by yourself?
Actually, almost every trip I've done has almost been solo travel.
Okay,
Incidentally,
okay.
my daughter and I went to England together the last spring break before I retired. But I stayed there for another 2.5 weeks after she left because, of course, being a young professional, she can't be gone 3 weeks. She's not a
Yeah.
digital nomad.
So when you first started hearing about this alternative way of living where you did not have to work until the end of time, were you start when did you start pet sitting, or do you still pet sit, or is that just something you
Yeah,
tried?
I took a break from pet sitting too because honestly, my vision of a life of ease, pet sitting wasn't
It was
wasn't
not.
was not aligning with that. Now, I have recently made a decision to go back to pet sitting. I have some clients that I love dearly, three of them that I've done multiple sits. One I've done 4 sits for, one I've done 3 sits for, and one I've done 2 sits for. And I would continue to sit for them because I love their houses, their spaces, their pets, and they're super the level of particularity that they have
Yeah.
aligns with my level.
Okay. Got you. I got you.
Yeah, so I had some experiences when I was in England where I wasn't feeling well and I was doing very long pet sits for big dogs that was not conducive to, like I said, my vision of what ease needed to look like.
Yeah.
And I booked all 8 of these sits before I left. Not, and it hit like it
Oh
never
wow.
hit me that 8 sits, I was there 11 weeks in England and I did 8 sits.
Girl.
Yes,
Okay.
and
That's a
one of them
lot.
was a double, so it was the same place twice. So it was 7 households, 8 sits,
That does
and
not
in
reek
five
of
cities,
any
five
kind of
different
ease.
places.
Mm-mm. Everybody has their own way of traveling, but for me, whenever I hear about somebody, I'm going to do 24 hours here in this city, and then I'm going to go here, and we're just going to go 2 days here, and maybe you have like a week-long vacation, you're trying to bop around everywhere. That does not sound like fun to me at all, because you're spending all your time in a train, plane, automobile someplace.
Well, the best part,
Yeah,
Yolanda, to be honest with you, the best part was the train. They have some wonderful trains in Europe.
they do.
Lord have mercy. I literally looked forward to leaving people's houses and spending the afternoon on the train. And the morning in the train station, I would have breakfast. I leave the house early, go to the train station, treat myself to a wonderful meal, get on the train, get off, Uber to where I needed to go. Sometimes I would spend, so I had approximately 1 to 2 nights in between each sit, which was
Hmm.
dumb. It was, I wasn't even really on a budget yet. I had literally just left the US. So I had the whole nest egg that I was supposed to live on for the 5 months. So the house sitting was first. And then when I was in Spain, I didn't do any house sitting because I didn't, I tried to book some, but there's so many people trying to
The
get to
Spain
stay.
pet
It
sitting
was more
options is
competitive.
growing now. That's a yeah. The Spain pet sits options are growing now because more people are moving here. But as far as locals and pet sitting, it's not so much of a thing. And even the ones that I have done, well, I've only done one where a Spain pet sit was local, and
Mhm.
that was the one time I got a bad review. It's just my humble opinion. So you left the States. When did you leave? What your first
So
trip?
I
That was
retired June 30th and I
okay.
came back to Atlanta. So I had my retirement party in Chicago. My job was in Chicago, but I was living in Atlanta and going back and forth the last year because my rent was in the low 2000s.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, if I could just cut that in half and go live with my daughter and help her out, then that's 12 grand right there towards moving.
Hmm.
Now,
Yep.
it didn't work out like that. I didn't actually save 12 grand
Yeah.
by moving in with my daughter. On paper, in theory, it was a great plan.
Yeah. I mean, when I gave up my apartment and I was pet sitting full time and I did not pay any because I was paying $1,700 a month in rent plus utilities and all that stuff, came out
Yeah,
to about
right.
two
That's just
thousand
the
dollars a
beginning.
month. And people are like, "Oh, so you were saving $1,700 a month and putting it away?" Hell no. Like no. Okay. Was I saving some? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Was I
Mhm,
putting away the exactly? Should I have? Yeah, I should have. I mean, I should have
mhm.
put away more than I actually did, but that's not always how that works out exactly. I can plan, but I'm a rule breaker. I'm a rebel. Okay, I
But
get it.
pet sitting was a really integral part. The decision to pet sit also was something I did in Atlanta. So before I moved to Atlanta, I lined up pet sits because even though my daughter has a lovely home and it's spacious, just when you're not used to living together. So I thought the pet sitting in Atlanta, which actually the pet sitting in Atlanta went really well. I had some amazing pet sits in Atlanta. beautiful condos and pools and backyards and gardens, and the pets were easy and the people were nice. And they were transplants to Atlanta. So we had that in common, like talking about moving to Atlanta and adjusting and that type of thing. So I'm still going to probably pursue pet sitting in Atlanta. When I do come back to the States, that's probably something that I will continue to do.
Yeah.
And the same thing in Chicago. I have one client in Chicago that they just got married. I'm super excited. I was at their home shortly after they got engaged. And then for their destination wedding, I was also their pet sitter. So I was there 2 weeks. They went to climb some mountain. I forget the name of it. My friend Ellie might remember, in South America, some gigantic mountain in South America. They're, obviously young and athletic. And then they had a destination wedding in Mexico. And I was back there this February for the cat.
Like,
I would say, even if you don't think you like it, you should try it.
Yeah, just try it. I was going to say that one of the things is that I remember when I moved here to Spain, when I moved here to Zaragoza, and my apartment was going to be ready for like 4 months or whatever. And so I was staying with my daughter and my son-in-law and the baby, staying with their family. And I was definitely doing pet sits around Spain because I wanted to be able to have my own space and give them space. So there's a balance, because,
Absolutely.
they had, they're fully grown people over here. And that I'm so thankful that they allowed me to stay with them, but also I want to walk around comfortable too. And so, yeah, just to, some respectable space. It was good.
Yeah.
So did you have, when you first like got ready to go and you were making these decisions, I like to talk about what fear, was there any, like something in the back of your mind going, girl, what you doing? Did you have any of that? Or even though we acknowledge it and we keep moving forward, but how did that feel for you?
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, by the time I decided to retire, I was so tired of those people. I didn't know what to do. I missed my students. I enjoyed teaching. I enjoyed what I taught. I thought I was fairly knowledgeable and active at it. You reach a point of comfortability with your subject and what you're teaching, so it doesn't really feel like you got to do as much prep. Like you might do prep because you want to update something new or what's new in this area. But I didn't feel that was the issue. The issue that I had was public higher education. Of course, it's worse now, and I haven't been gone a year yet. It's worse now. Yeah. But at the time that I was planning to leave, public higher education in Illinois and in many states was really struggling financially. And there were a lot of things that were going on at the administrative level and between the unions and between like faculty governance and university governance. That was just a very adversarial relationship that looked like it would never get better. And when I thought about what I wanted for myself in terms of like the respectability of being able to earn a fair wage over time, I had not seen my wages grow to the point that I felt like would be expected in any industry. And I knew that leaving would give me a chance to kind of do a reset and to re-strategize on what was the best use of my overpriced education. Because even though I'm retired, I'm still a relatively young retiree. I could definitely go somewhere else and teach another 5, 7, 10 years if I wanted to. I won't do that. Even though I'm already liberated, I'm going to the Job Liberation Summit just to remind myself why I'm trying to stay out of the workforce.
Sometimes we need a refresher course. That's just the bottom line. Because sometimes we get complacent or go into a self-doubt.